Most of us convince ourselves, right, that I've got everything in my life, everything that I need. I have absolutely no reason or excuse to complain. And so what we do is we sort of delude ourselves into thinking that what we're feeling inside is not important.
It's overwhelming. You're saying that this happened to you, this process of healing started in your early 20s. And most people who listen to this podcast are in their early 20s. And when you think about all of those things, you not feeling confident, you going through relationship challenges and all of these other things, it's really a smorgasbord of everything when you're in your early 20s, right? And the first thing that you feel when you become an adult is overwhelmed. So how did you deal with that?
I agree with you completely. Like being in your 20s, I mean, you have to make big decisions about your life, and you start thinking about like how every single choice matters, and I think we take it a little bit too seriously as well. Like we get overwhelmed about things that I think will sort themselves out. But kind of in your 20s, you don't have that patience. You want your life to kind of start moving. So it really started with noticing what was wrong in my life and what I wanted to improve. I think today there's a lot more like resources. There's a lot more information about well-being and mind-body energy connection. But, when I was in my 20s, it was even more confusing because there wasn't as much resources out there. And so I guess paying attention to what's going on in your life and checking, do you even like yourself? Do you even like your life? Is this really what you want? I think asking questions is a good place to start, especially when you're feeling really overwhelmed by everything.
And I feel like a lot of people would deny themselves asking questions because they're like, but my life is good. I have all of these great things in my life. I have a career, I have my family, I have good health, I live in New York City. And so they kind of push down asking themselves questions because they think that it's all right. I don't need to ask questions. I should just be happy about this. I should just have peace with this. So where did you get that courage to start asking questions? Because that doesn't come naturally for a lot of people.
Most of us convince ourselves, right, that I've got everything in my life, everything that I need. I have absolutely no reason or excuse to complain. And so what we do is we sort of delude ourselves into thinking that what we're feeling inside is not important. So we focus on the outside, right? Like everything's perfect from the outside. It ticks all the boxes. But when you're not feeling good on the inside, that's like a red flag. That's like your mind telling you that there's something wrong in your life. And I won't say that it's something like I knew right away. It's not like, okay, I woke up one day and I said, everything needs to change. It was definitely a process, started in my early 20s. And it probably took me a couple of years to kind of see how every part of my life was not where I wanted it to be. And I think it started with really acknowledging my feelings. Okay, so I think we don't do that enough. We don't acknowledge how we're feeling. We kind of brush it aside, or we're so busy doing things. We're always in action. I got to do this on my list. I got to go here. I got to meet my friends. I got to, we got a whole bunch of things going on, and they're all distractions. And they distract us from acknowledging how we feel.
I remember one of my best friends and my radio partner, my former radio partner, Erin Taide, when I was also in my early 20s, I had no idea how to process my emotions. And he told me something that was very powerful. He said, Parts, there's no such thing as a right or wrong emotion. They're all valid. You just have to process them. You just have to realize, okay, I'm feeling angry right now. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling whatever it is that you're feeling. It doesn't have to be a right or wrong emotion. You just have to honor it. And honoring that emotion and processing it and and then figuring out what you want to do with that emotion, whether to let that steer your actions or just let it slip, let it slide and run its course, and then do something else. It could be both. But for those people who are new to all of this, right, new to this idea of different ways to actually heal, theta healing, for example, and meditation, and knowing and figuring out that connection between their emotional health and their physical health, what would be your advice to people who are listening to right now that want to start their journey into healing?
Well, I think the first thing is, and I've said this a little earlier when we talked, is to start asking questions. Key questions to ask yourself. What do I want? Is this what I want in my life? And if it's not, then you probably need to take some steps to make those changes. Second question you can ask yourself, am I happy? How do I really feel inside? What are the feelings that I'm going through on a daily basis? And the third question I would ask myself is, if I could have everything I want, what would I create? What would I want? And again, if you realize that, there's so much more that you want in your life and you're not really creating it, then again, these are the triggers to kind of say, okay, well, what haven't I done? And you start looking for things. So it puts you in a forward-thinking mindset. It puts you in a mindset that, okay, there are things out there. I may not know about it, but maybe I'm ready to search for it. In terms of what are the active things you can do other than, asking yourself questions, is I really think meditation is something everyone should be doing. I think meditation happens in a lot of ways. So some people meditate while writing. So if you're someone who likes to journal, that's a great way of meditating. It's kind of getting all the garbage out, just finding some space in your life to be quiet and to be alone with your thoughts. And I think that also helps you become aware of what's going on. And finally, I do think that we're all slowly moving into this understanding that it's mind, body, energy, well-being. It's the food we eat. It's eating healthy. It's making sure we get enough sleep. It's taking care of ourselves. And all these basic needs must be taken care of. And so well-being is sort of, it's not just a mental thing. It's a physical thing. It's an emotional thing. We're all unique individuals, and certain things are going to appeal to different people. But the point is to prioritize your well-being and to find different ways of getting there.